Yeah, we're recording right now. Everything's good to go. I kind of tested the software just to
Oh,
make sure
okay,
everything
bet. Well,
worked beforehand.
you gotta let us know. All right,
No, oh
bet.
yeah, yeah. No, I thought
So
you guys knew, but you're just like, I need to warm up before I
no, no, no,
absolutely
no, no, no,
destroy
no,
the other
no.
person.
Yeah, yeah. So what's up, everybody? Today we're joined by Oriana, and we're joined by our gracious host Alex. He's gonna be um editing this, but overall, I think this is a great opportunity. I think Ori, most people would have taken a great offense to the message that you had sent me on Instagram. And I think it's a great opportunity to kind of just understand both of our points, both of our sides, and we can go from there. Obviously, I'm team capitalism. It appears that you've positioned yourself as team communism, but I think, I'll let you kind of talk about your position. One thing that you should know about me is that I respect everybody's opinion. Unlike the place where I come from, we all are owed an opinion and we all have a right to an opinion. And I'm a firm believer that to get respect, you got to give it. So when I read your message, I didn't take offense to it. It was more of I'm intrigued as to why you feel that way. And I definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come talk with me and really talk to the other people that kind of follow me. Like, I do this for a living, not so much the capitalism versus communism, but politics overall. And if you don't mind, I'd kind of like to gear the conversation. So if at times I ask you a question or if I ask for further clarification, it's only for the sake of understanding, you know. And
Yes,
if at any moment
dear.
you feel like I'm
So,
a little
Uh,
too abhorrent, you let me know. But could you introduce yourself? You know, where you're from, what you're doing, kind of your beliefs, things like that.
yeah, and before you do that, I guess I'll give a little bit of context to the viewers who might be watching. Basically, there was this whole like Nadir went to Cuba visiting family. He posted pictures and videos of the state of the island, and basically there was a disagreement between Nadir and Oriana
like close.
about the state of Cuba, about the state of Cuban politics, about how Nadir was representing the island, and that's why this whole debate sort of came up. I think that's a fair representation of how things went. So if you want to agree or disagree, you can right now.
All right. So, first off, I'm from Venezuela. My international political party is going to be socialism. Hasn't been for years. Socialism and its similarities to communism is where I see you would come about that conclusion. Um, I'm glad and thankful that we live in a country where we can have this debate openly. Cuba definitely, I love politics, and I'll go and explain where that comes from. And my last name is Aguirre. If you go to any of the Caribbean islands, that last name will most likely ring a bell to somebody, especially if they're into politics. My grandfather actually died in Cuba. He went there for cancer treatment, and he, he passed away, but he was like 80 years old anyway. Um, Also, my father lived in Cuba during el periodo especial. So I know all about Cuba and how hungry it gets. Also, I personally lived in Cuba for 4 months, and I had a much different interpretation than what Nadir's Facebook post let out. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I'll just interject here a little bit, not to about what you said. Just I'm more curious what you mean by that, and I guess Nadir will just respond then. So how do you think your experience within those 4 months of Cuba was different from how Nadir was describing it, portraying it on his social media?
Well, for starters, I went to Cuba in 2018. So Wi-Fi was not even booming. Like there wasn't free Wi-Fi unless you were sitting at the park and hooked onto a debit card or like a phone scratch card, or if you had one of those illegal satellites in your house. So the fact that you went and experienced Wi-Fi in Cuba, you're blessed, man. I had to listen to the same 5 songs on SoundCloud for 4 months. And it was such a wonderful experience for me. I had the time of my life. However, that trip was cut short due to my mental health. So we can even go as far as to talk about what mental health treatments looks like in Cuba if you want to take this debate that route.
So
Yeah,
I think, if I may, I think my first I guess starting point is I'd like to understand what you consider as socialism, as communism, and then I guess I can kind of give you my stance because I don't think we can take the conversation somewhere if we don't know where we're starting.
Okay.
So if you could kind of just talk about what your beliefs on what socialism is, what communism is, and I guess we can work from that start point.
Okay, socialism and capitalism both derive from Karl Marx and his ideologies, to my understanding.
So Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto, which is what this book is supposed to guide in communism. This was actually well before World War II.
Mhm.
Karl Marx is German,
Yes.
okay? And truth be told, the version of communism, so not capitalism, not socialism, the version that he describes in that book,
Marxism or something?
well, yes, that is where Marxism comes from, but Karl Marx is the inventor of communism in the
That's what I'm
Communist
saying.
Manifesto, which is the book
So
he
that's
wrote.
where my knowledge of communism is at, and socialism.
So the issue, I guess, to kind of going back and forth here is that no country in human history has done communism how he's depicted in the book, right?
Right.
So, for example, in communism, there's not supposed to be any free enterprise because it's all communal.
Mm-hmm.
However, in countries like Venezuela and in Cuba, there are private enterprises. Unfortunately, those are given, not made. While here in capitalist America, one can make their company or enterprise. And that's why I'm a firm believer in a free market, free labor enterprise. But please, just kind of describe your tenets.
We can always throw in capitalist, communist China capitalist market if you want to take it there.
Let's stay with Cuba, Venezuela, with Latin America. And if you'd like to kind of use those examples of other countries, that's cool. But just let's stick to topic. Like, what do you define as socialism? What do you define as communism? So we have a place to start.
Socialism is the idea. Okay, so we began with Karl and his ideal, his utopia for society. Because every political party at the end of the day is a reach to a utopia for everybody, is what I would say.
That's fair.
Even democracy and whatnot.
That's fair.
So communism being a party that is promising to take charge of absolutely everything, and it limits free thinkers or people that want to create innovations. It does limit that because it obviously makes the process of something as simple as Wi-Fi take 1,000,000 years to catch up. Then there's socialism, who honestly picks up on trends a little bit quicker, but is also promising to take care of only your primary needs. So you're still welcome to have innovative ideas and capitalize off of it, as long as you give up your right to like struggle over food and shelter and your basic needs such as healthcare.
Okay.
Making sense?
So communism has two parties, and not political parties. There's two factions, right? You have the proletariat, which is the working class, the laborers. And then you have the bourgeoisie, which is where the word bougie comes from. Okay? So you have two types of people. You have the people that own the companies, own the means of production, and then you have the people that work it. Communism was created, and the essence of communism is to give the proletariat the means of production. During the Industrial Revolution, Karl Marx was like, man, look at these rich motherfuckers up in their factories while all of these people are getting hurt and working for pennies on their dollars. So it created a social imbalance where you had really, really rich people who typically, even in today's society, own all the cribs, own all the companies, own all the labor. The bougie, the bourgeoisie. So we're just going to talk about history here for a second. During the Bolshevik Revolution, or basically when the Russian proletariats uprose and basically, in a very violent, I might add, revolution, took the means of production, right? So communism.
This is pause. This is Cuban history, correct?
Yeah, but to understand communism, we need to talk about history. And Cuba got communism, which is really socialism, from the Russians. So we need to understand where we were and where we are to know where we're gonna go. So the only reason I bring up the Bolshevik Revolution is to highlight two things: who did it and how. Who did it? The proletariat. How? With guns and violence, right? So communism has never been a peaceful, right? Like many revolutions. So the point I want to bring here is that real communism requires a state or the government to control everything. The Russians didn't do it. Cubans ain't do it. Venezuelans ain't do it. And to be honest, that will never happen. Do you want to know why? That probably will never happen.
Before you get there, just because let's talk about before we get too deep into taking me to school about communism, let's talk about capitalism and modern day democracy and modern day Republican Party and modern day Democratic Party and modern day democracy. What does it mean? What is it?
It's a two-party system where both sides have the exact same political power, and you allow the general population, or what we call in my business the electorate, make the decisions rather than the state. So
and you want to explain the electoral college just for the one
no. The voters. Electoral college has nothing to do with this. At the end of the day, you, me, Alex, we vote on things. So we are the electoral.
My vote, which makes up a large population of America, that is not allowed to vote because I am a green card holder. I'm not saying I need a vote. I could wait my 5 years, and if I felt it a passion of mine to try and vote in this political climate, I would, do my due diligence. It hasn't been a priority, and like a lot of immigrants that don't really want to renounce their respect for their home country, we come across this issue.
Well, you are not a citizen, therefore you cannot vote. So the only way that you could is to become a citizen. If you make the conscious decision to not do that, that's what it is. Nobody is stopping you. Nobody's putting a gun towards your head. Nobody's intimidating you, and nobody's telling you the contrary. In this two-party system, You can pick and choose who represents you and your interests. And in that system, there's a mechanism that if you don't like the people that represent you, you can kick them out. Granted, it's a bit harder than getting them in. So
You're talking
you were
about
asking me
impeaching?
about democracy in modern day, but that's what it is.
No,
So,
okay. Yeah, that's what it is. You're
okay,
on point. I'm glad you know what you're defending. Do you
going back
want to
to
go about the cruise before we touch back base on communism and my stance and why I stand with it? Do you want to talk about the crusades of democracy? The
no,
very
I
violent
don't
crusades.
think that's what I want to talk about is how you got to think or believe what you believe. And my goal in this conversation is to truly change your mind because frankly, I think you're wrong. And I think you have a skewed vision and perception of democracy and of communism and socialism. And I think that you aren't fully aware of what you're talking about. So
Oh my God, this is shots. Pa, 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 pa. Throw those in
you
the
could take them as
bomb.
shots. I'm
This is
really
the
trying to
first
come at you
time
with
you
logic
took
and
a
reasoning.
shot.
And I can give
Okay.
you case studies. And my only goal is to hope
It would
that you
make
will
my
listen
life
to a
a
different
million
perspective.
times easier, let me tell you, to live in America and agree with their political anything they got going on.
Living in America means that you can stand in the corner of your house and you can scream at the top of your lungs, fuck America, fuck Joe Biden, fuck Trump, fuck whoever. And
And
guess
I
what will
sure
happen
do.
to
I
you?
do that shit often. I be on Twitter. Fuck everybody.
And
But
nothing
look,
will happen
in
to you.
Venezuela, just to give you a prime
Unfortunately,
example of what you think you I don't stand for against,
so
odds.
what I
I
can't
know my
fathom
political
is,
standpoint is odd, but
yeah,
in Venezuela, there is somebody right now as we speak saying "Me cago en la madre Maduro."
but if they said that publicly, they would get kidnapped.
Publicly in the plaza, and there's another guy that's across from him. It's like, es verdad, me cago en la madre Maduro. ¿Y por qué? Es un fucking autobusero, imbécil, no sé, he doesn't,
And that
he's
person
illiterate.
is very likely to get kidnapped, go to jail, have a illegitimate trial.
Oh, no. It's not even gonna get that far because, matter of fact, in modern day socialism, modern day in Venezuela, Mr. what's his name, Diosdado, who gets a lot more respect even from me, being the asshole that he is, he gets a lot more respect from me just because he's scarier off the rip. People don't go around saying "fuck Diosdado" the same
Do you
way.
think people don't say that because they're scared of the
No,
retaliation that
no.
him or his
Because he
people?
actually this is what I was about to tell you. He goes on TV and he reads your shitty tweets about him and the government out loud. And he stay on there for 3 hours and roast motherfuckers. So you roast him, he gonna roast you back. There's a percentage chance out there because in Venezuela, one thing about it, they might be corrupt and have a lot more luxuries than the average individual because there is no standpoint that claims, unless maybe a Swiss motherfucker, there's no claim that socialism is either working in Venezuela and there's no claim that communism is working in Cuba. So we can take those
So,
two
so
off
then,
the
so
Okay,
then, I guess
wait.
this
All
is
right. Wait. All right. I kind of have to interject here. Not in a biased manner. I guess I just want to capture more of your thought process, and then we can give this back to Nadir. Yeah,
Okay.
this conversation's fun already. And
Okay.
so I guess I want to get your thoughts on this because the whole reason this started, as I mentioned earlier, was because there was a disagreement of how Nadir was portraying Cuba. But now you're also saying that socialism isn't working in Venezuela and communism isn't working. What do you mean by that? And if you don't think it's working, why?
Okay. You heard him, Nadir?
to be honest with you, I just had a lovely lady come into my office right now. But I can imagine that he contested some of your point and he wanted
He
some
wants me to
clarification.
go into like, how am I going to stand for something that's not working? But before I go into that point, do you
I
feel
think that's a valid point.
Do you think democracy is working?
I think democracy historically, and if you look at, if I were to compare the system of
I just
democracy,
need a yes or no to keep going.
it is 110% unequivocal, without a doubt. Yes, shorty.
Now I
Democracy,
have
that
to
shit.
eat you up. Now I have to eat you up. Let me tell you what's not working.
I don't think you will, but I
Last
hope
year's
to be.
elections, just for starters, didn't even work properly because people were talking about thing like mailing in their votes, and they ain't never had to do such a thing before. And your elections are so serious and near dear to y'all heart that y'all only host them once every 4 years. And like you said, it's very hard to get somebody.
That's incorrect. There's actually elections every single year, depending on the position. And the only point that I will make right now is that in our democratic elections, nobody's died from voting. In Venezuela, you die or get kidnapped or you get intimidated based on your vote.
Facts only. Facts only. In Venezuela, they buy your vote with a bag of chips. They tell you go vote for Maduro, and the Indians that don't even know how to read, and the literate people that respect their government, because there's people that live in Venezuela and refuse to leave Venezuela because they stand with the political party. They believe in Maduro, they believe in Diosdado, and let me tell you, the hottest phrase out there is fuck the empire, and the empire being the United States.
And Venezuela does an incredible job at creating propaganda and making the West their enemies. When the reality is, they sell Venezuela doesn't even invest. Have you been to a Shell? Have you just real quick, Ori, real quick? Have you been to a Shell? Have you been to a Shell gas station? So Shell is a Venezuelan company that sells the oil that is dug and made in Venezuela to Americans. So if they hate us so much, and if we are so much the enemy, the empire, then why do you sell us your gas? Well, you need our money. Well, you need our money. Number one, you need our money.
You gotta go where the money go. You gotta go where the money go. You guys mess. And this is another hard hitter point for why modern day democracy is a scam. This crusades of democracy is what I like to call them, that you don't want to tap into, of like spreading democracy and playing Risk in real life and painting the map blue. Okay. In y'all plays, you guys create an economic warfare that makes it impossible to cut the fucking US dollar out of the equation.
Why would you want to cut the US dollar out of the equation? Because and what equation are we talking about? You're talking about a world economics?
If we move to crypto tomorrow and say no more US dollar, hooray, hurrah. Fuck this coin.
You know, I'm actually a lot closer to that than you'd believe. But the reality is, why would you want to take out the strongest currency in the world?
I'll tell you why. For starters, what backs this currency? What does the Federal Reserve in the United States look like?
Gold and a lot of debt and bonds.
A lot of debt. Let's start there. A lot of debt. Trillions of dollars in debts. A lot of debt. Everybody thinks y'all owe money to China, and that's not even who y'all owe the most money to, because y'all owe the most money to Japan. And you.
Why do you keep saying y'all like if y'all ain't you? Like you keep saying y'all, like y'all isn't you. Like you don't live here, like you don't participate here, like you don't enjoy what y'all.
I'm not gonna say we. If you're trying to get a we out of me, we the people, we the not the people.
Okay, wait. All right. How about this? How about this? There are people in DC, I think we can all agree this, who take on that debt. We vote those people in, and then they take on the debt. So how about, instead of saying y'all or we, how about the US government, because that's the one who's making the decision on the debt. But continue on.
Ya me invitaron para una fiestecita. One moment, please.
No worries.
Okay, where were we? Let's pick back up. I'm trying to broadcast this on my live too because my friends
Yeah, run it.
think this is the worst idea in the world, by the way.
But what I'm just trying to I'm just really trying to poke your brain as to how you got to these conclusions, because just from hearing you talk, just from hearing you describe democracy, I think you just come from a hateful standpoint. Because to be frank with you, democracy here in the Middle East and in South America has created a middle class. Like, the reason we have a middle class is because we have laws and systems in place which prevent the bourgeoisie from taking advantage of these people. And while your principles are rooted in community and inclusivity, you're actually doing the opposite, where you're excluding, you are segregating, and you are creating opportunities for some and not all. So I just feel like a lot of the things you're saying are kind of hypocritical. They're hypocritical because when you look at the results of what you are prescribing, you get misery, you get authoritarianism.
Okay, let
You
me
get
tell you
people.
where I comes from. And this goes back all the way to 7th grade civics. Wait, real quick, say hi to my sister all the way from Venezuela. Saluda, mana.
Hola.
Un político de aquí de este lado. Bueno, mira, estoy en el medio de mi debate, así que si quieres estar ahí, perfecto. Si no, bueno, chao. Ok, pero ponte en silencio. Pon el micrófono en silencio. Okay, boom. Where was I? Before I did that, man. Democracy working everywhere. That's what you're saying. Back to the 7th grade. In the 7th grade, as my civics teacher is explaining to me,
Mr. Peraza?
Mr. McFarland.
Oh, okay. You didn't go to Kinlock, right?
No, I went to Coral Gables.
I was like, shit.
As
Wait,
he's
which
in the
middle school
midst
did
of
you go to?
explaining to me democracy.
Because I think we went to the same middle school, Coral Gables Prep.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. All right. No, just cool, right? Alumni of the same middle school. All right, but
I know your sister. I don't know you though. I know Leticia Cole.
Yeah, I'm her younger brother. So, but
that's why we did not cross paths.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
Mr. McFarland, and I don't know if he was your civics teacher, an excellent civics teacher. He's not a biased ass individual. He gets straight to the facts, and he taught me what he needed to teach me. But in the middle of him explaining stuff to me, something was going on in the political climate. And I said to him, why does the United States think they are the police of the world? And I've always been for the police. So yes, that's where the roots of my hatred for democracy, American democracy, comes from. And also, we vote in socialism. So if the root core of democracy just means that you get to vote for who's up there, asshole, idiot, or whatever, Donald Trump or, Sleepy Biden, if you're voting, if that's the only definition, then we vote. And believe it or not, that guy Maduro has won the elections every time. Are they rigged? Very likely. Do dead people vote over there and they've been dead 5 years and you're like, no way, my great grandpa voted for Maduro and he's been dead 20 years? It happens. It's a crook nation. My big problem with you, and we're gonna stick to the root because I am trying to change your mind about something too. You went to Cuba and you could have even landed yourself in jail speaking only illy of Cuba on your social media, that I imagine you have very few Cubans on there, because they're probably not even on social media like that to begin with. You chose to only be like, yo, the Wi-Fi here is terrible, blah. And bro, you didn't see one beautiful thing in Cuba. I highly doubt it. Even just
I
the
saw
car
many
that picks
beautiful
you
things
up
in Cuba.
from the
Oh, I
airport was
saw many
probably like
beautiful things in Cuba.
beautiful.
My family, their spirit, their energy. But you know what's not beautiful, Audie? And this is where I really have to challenge your view. You know what's not beautiful?
Their
When my
struggle.
cousin is scared to speak out about the fact that he has to stand in a line for 5 hours with the hope of getting a bread. Where in this country, you can go to any literal store and that shit's there. My cousins and my tias and my tios and all of my family, because all of my family lives in Cuba, they could go to
Are
school.
you their main supporter? Like their main
Yes,
provider?
the majority, well, me and my mother, yeah, we send money back because if not, how do they eat? How do they survive?
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I go through that struggle too. Like my mother has to get a $400 surgery, and Venezuela is peculiar in the way that now it's began to move in dollars, and it's a street currency now over there, where but beyond the point is she needs $400. I got to be the one to send them to her. But also, this
Oriana,
is what happens when you
there is
maintain people from
nothing
across the
beautiful.
world is they'll call you and tell you, I'm having a life or death emergency, and the emergency is the transmitter on the car or the check engine
Oriana,
light just went.
there is nothing beautiful about human rights violations. And this is where I'm going to get a
Not
little
touch that
emotional with you.
subject. You're not allowed to touch that subject. And
Who are
people
you
here,
to determine what I can speak about?
okay,
Like,
you're right.
respectfully here. Like,
Okay, you're
I
right.
can't
The way
determine
I worded
what
that
you
was
can
ugly.
say. So
But
how can you
listen to
tell
this.
me that I'm not
Most
allowed to speak
human
on a
rights
subject?
violators are the United States. So just be aware
The
before you touch
United
that
States
subject,
does
because the
not
United
kidnap
States
Cubans because
having
they
so
posted
many
against their
issues.
government on social
Can you
media.
mute him?
I'm sorry. Love, love, love. Could I please just articulate this point? And I promise I won't speak for your
You're
point.
gonna make me miss my point. The United
Well,
States
I would challenge you to
has a
write it down
problem so
because
simple as
just
black
real
and
quick here.
white. The
Just
United
real quick,
States in
real quick, Audie,
2023 has a black and
Audie,
white
please.
problem, and you're talking about humanitarian. I'm confused.
Yes, 100%. It is not the United States' fault that when a Cuban in Cuba posts about the the July 11th manifestations, that they go to jail. How is that the United States' fault? That's a hypothetical. I'll give you like 5 more. How is it the United States' fault that in Cuba you have doctors that studied for 6 years and they make $25 a month? Hypothetical. How is it that in Cuba, if you kill a cow, you go to jail for 7 years? But here, there's a whole industry around it. How is it that in Cuba, you, from the age of 3 years old, they put a blue handkerchief on your chest and tell you that you are a pioneer of communism?
Can we get a quick fact check?
Let me just finish my last 2 points, and I swear you can do all the fact checking. You talked about how I didn't denote any of the beauty of Cuba. There is nothing beautiful, and I need this to be very clear. There is nothing beautiful with controlling people's minds and people's hearts. I'm a capitalist, and capitalism says that we own property. I own my house, I own my business, and guess what? And the most important property,
That's
the
why y'all
most
got so many
important
guns.
property, mi amor, the most important property on the known earth is my mind and my soul. You cannot buy it. It is not for sale. It will never be yours. It is mine. Meal. I can't even spell it. It is mine. In Cuba, you don't own your mind, you don't own your heart, and you don't own your labor. And that is a humanitarian violation. All humans have a right to their thoughts. All of them. All humans have a right to their thoughts.
And
So why is it
thankfully, thoughts
that you have to
still
indoctrinate
belong
people
in
to
your
your
mind.
side?
In America, you
Yes.
have the privilege to publicize every thought.
Oh, you're kind of freezing up right
Oh,
now.
my
Could
Wi-Fi
you-
is no bueno here.
Yeah, you might want to move. Yeah.
I was gonna show you something. You see this house behind me?
Yeah, I see the house.
I'm gonna go into a little depth because I think now you think I'm coming from a bullshitter point of view.
I don't think what you're saying is
I
bullshit.
work
I respect your
in
opinion.
America.
I just don't agree with it.
Okay, are you gonna let me go? You got a lot
Oh,
of
of
your chest
course.
right there.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I did.
that house are container homes, right? They're eco-friendly container homes. I sell those. They're $10,000 starting asking price. You have to own the land. And I'm telling you about this because making affordable living in the United States, where you're claiming that there's no human rights violations going on, in America, trying to solve a homeless problem. There's no
Yes.
homeless in Cuba and there's no homeless in Venezuela. Eso ni existe. That there's
I
people that love
disagree.
to
There
walk the
are.
streets and wander all night forever. Those are night crawlers. They're gonna exist in every society, but that they don't have a place. But that they don't
So
have
what
a
you're
place.
telling me is you have a business.
They're telling me to milk this situation, so we could go real deep.
So you have a business that you started in America.
No. That's not. I don't
You
own
just said that you sell affordable housing container homes, which sounds lovely, by the way. That sounds very cool.
We'll tap into that and maybe you can push it. I don't know. I'm looking for the logo right now. Okay. So I'm at our headquarters right now.
So you told me just now that what you do for work is that you create these container homes.
This is my passion project that doesn't make me $1.
Okay. That might not be the most savviest of business decisions because your passion should make you money, but
okay. Facts. Look, from here you can see the container homes. Oh no, the price went up on them. They're supposed to be for affordable living, but now they have to be $25,000 a step.
which is still very cheap for a home anywhere.
That you already have to own the land.
Okay. So
it's cheap for people that you don't have homes, of course, and we're trying to come up with solutions. And that's the fun part about living in capitalism with so many people supporting it blindly, is that yeah, you become very creative as far as to how you're going to solve problems for people who think they have no problems. So yeah, there's people that I am very tight knit with, politicians and all. And that's why I even reached out to you, because I know your dream, and I want to see you make something shake here. I don't agree with all your political standpoints, obviously, but I want you to make a change here because I know where you come from and you have the potential. That's the only reason I even cared to check you, boy.
So what kind of change do you envision me making, or would you like to see in the United States? But
okay,
I imagine that change would be in a support that you have.
To answer that
from
question and to answer
country.
2 questions in one stone, I'm going to say this much. I'm going to mention the human rights violations of the United States that need to be addressed and need to be resolved eventually. I'm not saying you're going to solve them all, because it's a lot. And we're going to start with the oldest tale in the fucking book.
Mm-hmm.
Racism in America, as something so simple as making 1 million little kid books that paint an Oreo cookie over and over again on every page and explain to people that you're white and he's black and that's okay. Let's start with that fucking.
All right. I gotta let's bring this back to, I guess, what originated the whole topic. So I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, but basically it's good that you have a passion, and it's good that you want to build affordable housing. I actually looked into little mobile homes myself, so
I'll send you everything. We'll exchange emails.
Yeah, after this conversation, but
it's
I guess
obviously not a dead-end business, and there's money in
Ori, I have to just make one thing very clear, because you brought up racism, and while I hate racism and I have felt racism, as I can imagine
look at you, you're not even white.
It is not the government's, and this is what I need you to understand. The government cannot solve every bail for you. Racism is not a government thing. It is a social thing.
Racism is a government thing. Please mute
Nope.
him because
Nope.
I'm not done making
Nope.
my human
Nope.
rights violations.
I'm sorry. It's not. You are taught to be racist, and that comes from your family and your environment. The government did not give you your parents, and the government did not put you in those conditions wherever your parents are. And it might be a little bit of tough love here, but the reality is racism is solved at the home and with education and exposure.
Wait, I have a question that came in from my live for you. Are you a Blue Lives Matter?
Oh, I'm a all lives matter. Blue, red, white, green, trans, Martian. All them things matter.
Man, she threw you a lifeline there. You were coming across as a Blue Lives Matter.
No, they do 100%. I support law enforcement, and I won't ever stop. And I hope one day when I run for office that law enforcement gives me an endorsement, because I definitely support cops. But I also support Black people. I also support white people. I also support Asians. I also support gays. I also support trans. I support everybody.
Except for communists, little boy.
Yeah, anyway. No, they should all die, respectfully. Respectfully. But there's gay communists, there's trans communists, there's Black communists, there's white communists.
I know. Don't go to Hitler
that are cops.
Because they're not.
Nah, straight up. No. I'm glad we're able to really draw the line in the sand, because straight up, like, what's up with you?
Let me tell you, facts. It's like, why did Fidel kill El Che? You always want to kill
El Che was a homophobe, and he literally killed gay people.
Why did he kill anybody? Anyways, let's stick back to my human rights scroll paper. Isn't this really cool? Beyond the Sea. Let's see what this is.
So anyways, let's be clear here. A human rights violation.
Racism is indeed.
All right, you're showing me a scroll without anything. That racism I don't think that really helps on context here.
I need you to mute him.
So can you tell me what you think human rights violations are, or like what is human rights?
Human rights are the rights that, bro, should not even have to be addressed, should not even have to be spoken about, because your human rights are shit like, nigga, you're broke, you're a bum, you don't deserve these 25 cents I'm about to put in your hand, but guess what? You're human, and your human right is to go get a fucking meal. I don't give a fuck how you get it.
No. Human rights are rights that are natural. So we have man-made laws, and then we have natural laws. So this goes all the way back to Hammurabi's Code, which is the very first set of laws ever created in like 6000 BC. I don't think that scroll is Hammurabi's law. So let me give you an example of the most important human law. We all have a right to protect ourselves, right?
Like, if you just real quick, I'm not gonna put that responsibility. If you try and kill me right here, I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah. Go ahead. If you try and kill me, I have a right to protect myself. Because everybody has a right to live.
I'm smooth operating to killing you right now. You're right. This is premeditated. Listen to this. You're human.
Another human right is everybody has a right of expression. Everybody has a right to communicate. Every human, regardless of your race, color, religion, origin, background, you have a right to express yourself.
I'm here. I got it pulled up, and this is where I'm going to hit you with. Freedom from discrimination. So yes, systematic discrimination, and that's going to be homework for you, because you know, and you cannot claim it on here because you're making a strong stance for capitalism, but you know that systematic racism is a thing. It comes from the
Jim
slaves,
Crow,
and for that debate,
sure.
you're gonna have to pick a black.
But that doesn't equate to capitalism bad. Boo. You're right. There are cases of systematic oppressions and have been rooted in racism. But that isn't going to stop capitalism from doing its thing. And that doesn't mean that the system's fucked up.
So let's move on. But that is a human right. And that's my final say on this. That is a human right that the United States should be convicted of. Right to equality between men and women. Is that a thing in the United States?
I'll be real with you. Women got it way better than men nowadays. And I'm not going to get all fresh and fit podcast with you, but there is absolutely zero oppression to women. Women dominate in divorce courts. Women get hired more than men nowadays. Women have all the rights And that wage gap is also bullshit. And I can prove it to you with my own job. Because guess what? 80%,
I don't
Audie,
feel,
80% of my
personally
workforce are
don't
women.
feel oppressed in the United States just for being a woman. I feel oppressed for other reasons, but not for being a woman, because they put me in a situation where I'm allowed to get a job. I'm not first to climb the career ladder. I don't want to be. And I also
how can you
even loved
complain
when
that you don't have
when
the
women didn't
opportunity
even
to
have
climb a
rights here,
ladder when you
because
just said that you don't want it? So you have all the choice you want. And unfortunately, socialism and capitalism, you don't have a choice. My cousins can't choose to speak up. They can't choose to leave.
your side
You can choose to get another job. You can choose to get a higher position or stay at your position. So
I'm
I
not
just
the
don't
most
understand how you
career.
can
I'm not
fight
even
for
like career
socialism
oriented,
when
bro.
you
I'm
clearly
gonna
are enjoying
retire
all the
like an
benefits of
Indian
capitalism.
on the side of the river. Like, I'm not even ambitious like that. That's who you're talking to.
All right, I have a question for you then. All right, so you were talking about racism in the United States, and I think we're all in agreement here that racism was very much prevalent in the late 19th century up until the mid 20th century within the United States. And we can have, I guess, a whole other side conversation about that and about the legacy and persistence of racism. But
1 second.
Yeah, sure thing.
Hiya, come in. Gotta run about the dollars.
Alex, you appear to have a stain on your shirt.
Where? Oh.
Gotcha.
All right, boom.
But basically, I just wanted to ask you this.
We can move on to the next human rights violation.
This is about Cuba, and so I just wanted to ask you this question. And you alluded to racism and how that's in your mind. That's why the United States isn't so great. Basically, do you think that the racism in the U.S. is worse than racism in Cuba? And if so, why?
Racism in the US is definitely worse than any racism they have going on in Cuba, simply because racism in the United States is only factored by, are you black or are you white? Racism in Cuba takes into accountability, do you make money? What's your political standpoint? Are you plugged in with the government?
And that's not racism. And I also disagree with you. Racism, you can't quantify racism. You just tried to quantify racism. I don't know how you could do that. Secondly, you're black here, you're black there. You're white here, you're white there.
Well,
so I think what you're
to
talking
my
about is
understanding,
classism.
and look at my skin color real good. I don't experience racism on a personal level because I'm white passing as fuck, and in a good day, I'm black passing as fuck too. So we don't have to deep dive into that because racism exists here. It's systematic.
But racism isn't a governmental issue. It's a social issue.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. Racism in Cuba, from my understanding and what my family has told me, my Cuban family, what they have told me is that black people even live it better in Cuba than white people. So I don't even know where to begin as far as that goes, because reverse racism is also a thing in South Africa. If you want to go global with
so what the thing, we've been at this for an hour, and honestly, I've been enjoying my time here, really understanding how you think and where you get your opinions. But what I'm just not understanding is how in one instance you could feel very strongly against capitalism, and then when it's convenient for you, you take all the mantras of capitalism and then you say, in this situation, yes, but in this one, no. So I'll give you an example.
Okay, hold on.
Wait.
Too global of a scope. You tried to pin me in just a sentence, and I'm not gonna let that happen. So I'm gonna move on with the rights converted by the covenants, which is what I'm looking at, which is the International Bill of Human Rights. Okay, so I'm back on track here. Right to equality between men and women. I would not convict the United States of
sexism,
of violating this human right. I, as a woman, feel that I have just as much power as a man, if not more power, in the United States. I feel that way, despite the pink tax, which you can take your own time to Google that. Right to life.
Right. So, for example, in Cuba and in Venezuela, your life will be oppressed if you speak out against the government. Here, you can say whatever you want about the government, and your right to life will never be violated.
Has anybody been murdered in the United States solely for their political opinion? Yes.
That would be true in every single country in the world throughout human history. Because
Fair. That's fair.
so I mean,
So what are
yeah,
you telling
I
me?
feel you. But the reality is that and I'm gonna give you an antidote. My cousin's homeboy, who's 18 years old, is currently sitting in a jail cell because he took out his phone and recorded a manifestation. 3 days after he posted it to Facebook, 4 police officers came to his house, took him. There were no rights read. There was no trial. There was nothing. He goes into a jail cell. The lawyer tells him, hey man, you are now a political prisoner. They gave you 11 years because you posted a Facebook video. I can't do anything about it. I'll let your mom know. And he is currently sitting in a jail cell for posting a Facebook video.
And that's where you could have ended up with your comments about the Wi-Fi.
110%. My comments were a little bit more than just Wi-Fi. My comments were about the living conditions, the economic conditions, and the human rights violations, which again, I would love to talk to you about what I said, why I said it, where I was at, why I felt like I needed to say it.
Start pulling up the archives of the stories that you posted.
I don't think I could do a screen share here, but it's very simple. I think in one of my favorite examples was the juxtaposition. One second here. Was the juxtaposition between hotels and how regular people live. Do you know how much money Cuba makes from tourism?
I imagine a lot, and that's why Venezuela is so fearful of a powerful tourist economy.
Horizon.
Because we are pro-sustainable tourism.
Do you think the average Cuban could go to a hotel in Cuba?
No.
Why do you think that?
Because tourism is expensive anywhere you put it. I can't even afford to go to a hotel right now in December in Miami.
They can't go because they won't let them go. Because that is not designed for Cubans. As a Cuban, do you think you can buy red meat?
Before you try to pin this on me, because I already know about the cows and the
You did not cause communism, and you definitely are not responsible for Cuba's issues. I'm not pinning anything on you. I am challenging your views, and I'm asking you questions about them.
Okay. Can I go back to the next? Okay, so we're still on the point of right to life. So before we go any deeper into red meat and how much Cubans miss red meat, the ones that still remember red meat, because that's been around.
Like you say these comments, like you are aware there's issues, and
yes,
I feel
I'm
like
aware, and I still prefer their issues.
So I feel like you're giving me
about a perfect society because
you're validating my point
doesn't
here.
exist.
You know that, right?
What?
Like you saying that comment that Cubans miss red meat, which they 100% do.
Yeah, red meat's delicious.
Validates my point that this country is ass. So I just don't understand how you can take the position. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like how can you take the position that communism, socialism is
right
good?
To life. Reel it in. Reel it in. Right to life. Let's talk about abortion.
Okay, so I guess we're going into the topic of healthcare. All right. So I guess we'll just pass this on to you. So I mean, right now, for those of you who aren't aware, abortion in the United States as of after 2022 is more of a state-by-state issue after the Dobbs decision. That means that abortion is no longer federally guaranteed throughout all 50 states. And so now abortion is kind of a state-by-state issue. So in Florida, we have a 6-week ban, but in California, you could get an abortion up to like 6 months, like 5
and
months
I love
around
the state
there.
Of Florida, man.
And so
Florida has just enough.
Florida's pretty cool, man.
To the what?
Florida's pretty cool.
If I gotta die in America, I'll die in Florida, straight like that.
Yeah, but
there's enough loopholes in Florida laws that it makes trolls of federal laws that I like it here.
Yeah,
for that.
probably. I mean, just because DeSantis says abortion 6 weeks. I mean, we're in Miami, so I mean,
Oh yeah, you can still find a clinic that'll do an abortion 8
oh,
weeks.
for sure, 100%. But
if not, you can definitely find a santo.
Yeah, so the reason I bring that up is, I guess, to ask you what is it specifically about. Let me mute Nadir. What specifically is it about abortion policy in Cuba that you prefer over the United States? And given
I'm
how
not familiar with abortion laws in Cuba, Nadir.
And given okay, well,
and let me know, what are the abortion laws in Cuba? I can Google it real quick if nobody knows. I'm sure that it's illegal and that well, I'm not sure of anything, like I just said, I don't know, but I imagine that it's illegal and there's plenty of people that do them on a regular, and it's not like their most punishable crime.
Yeah, well, I mean, from everything that I'm reading here, it seems that abortion is like it's legal in Cuba, and that if you wanted one, you could get it. But more so, I guess, like what.
So let me reel it in. I can take it from here.
All right.
Right to life. As far as abortion goes, the United States gonna have something to say. So whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, that choice, that right to life becomes a political thing. No longer a human, need to be discussed right. So we can even move. And as far as he wanted to touch base in healthcare is expensive in America. It do not make sense. We can agree?
Oh, without a doubt, super expensive.
Yeah, 100%.
Obamacare and all these scam likely things that have dropped to solve that problem. Medicare until you're 25 and you're not even experiencing medical issues until after you're 25. Shit that just simply doesn't make sense. If it don't make sense, it's part of what you guys have going on here as far as healthcare goes. I don't even want to deep dive into that. So that's all I'll say about that. And we can move on to the freedom.
Let's do this. If I may. We've bounced around a lot of different topics. Obviously, you and I were not going to solve communism or capitalism. I think we both have established that, both systems have flaws. Granted, yours has way more than mine. But I think fundamentally
communism doesn't have more.
Your system has killed more babies, men, and women.
Well, my you guys are catching up with
rewards
Gaza.
Hard workers
catching up on the
and
baby.
Promotes innovation. Earlier in the conversation, you made a comment about innovation. You know what doesn't get innovated in communism?
What, my
Anything. Free market is what creates innovation. I'll give you the example of Tesla. Elon Musk literally created an entire automobile industry because he created a technology and he patented it, and now everybody copies it. In communism, the government's going to find the best way to milk money. I'll give you an example. In the United States, and this is the example that supports why government sucks.
Wait, but right now, you're circling back to an issue that's going to set us back another hour.
What issue would that be?
Innovations.
Okay, real quick. When the United States, during the Civil War time, so I'm talking about like the 1800s, when they wanted to build the transcontinental railway, what do you think is the quickest way from point A to point B? This is the question for you. What is the quickest way from point A to point B?
They're talking about, my best friend talking about milkier time. So I don't know how much time you had set aside for me today.
Girl, I got enough time to where this stops being productive. And in my opinion, this is still productive. But please answer my question. What's the quickest way? Just hear me out. What is the quickest way?
Back to the railroad system or Route 69.
What is the quickest way from point A to point B? Real quick. What's the quickest way?
I imagine you got to go to the government, say, yo, I got this idea.
No, the answer I'm looking for is a straight line. From point A to point B, the quickest way is a straight line. when the government in the 1800s went to these different railroad companies, guess what they did? They paid them not by the project, but by the miles of track. So you know what the companies did?
Oh, so they paid them with the land?
Instead of building the railroad from in a straight line, they built it like this, slowing down the time, making it longer to get from point A to point B, but the rail company wanted to make more money. So that's not innovative. And the government paid it because they're all homies. What I'm trying to say is that the free market, let me just let me make the point. Let me just make the point. I've been respectful to you and I've heard everything you said, but let me make my point. Please, you've interrupted me a great deal. Please. The point I'm just trying to make is that the only way that humanity prospers, that things change for the better, is a result of a private company and a private citizen doing private things. No government has cured a disease. No government has ever solved world
Now we have to touch base on something very important. Pharma, big pharma, fentanyl overdoses, Johnson & Johnson. The capitalized.
It's not the pharmaceutical company's fault that people in America overdose on drugs. That could be a problem about accessibility. That could be a problem about our culture. That could be
a lot of things. So we don't have to go too deep into that. Freedom. I think this one we can even squeeze this one in here. Freedom from torture. Freedom from torture.
Nobody's holding a gun against your head telling you to do X, Y, or Z. To my understanding, nobody's torturing you or your friends.
All right, wait. When it comes to torture in the U.S., wait. When it comes to torture in the U.S. specifically, torture tends to occur sometimes outside of the U.S. when it comes to political enemies, political prisoners of war. Clearly, obviously, not okay. Now, and this one is more for you, Oriana. You bring up torture as a point to say that the U.S. isn't so great. I mean. Wouldn't you say okay? If a government wait, I have to make this point. I have to make this point real quick, and I promise you'll have the time you need to answer this. All right. So if you have a government like Cuba that constantly starves its people, that lets the infrastructure crumble, that actively goes out of its way to lock up people for political speech, is that not a form of torture?
I'm not allowed to answer that as straightforward as it can be answered.
Why not?
From my political standpoint. Let me tell you what.
But why are you ducking the smoke? Like that was a
all right, I won't duck the smoke. Yes, that's a form of torture. And I'm not gonna use Cuba as the example for
that. But you support that form of torture while you say, so here's an example of you saying yes here, but no here.
Okay, you ready for me? All right. Yes, that's a form of torture. Is there forms of torture in the United States? One could even reach as far as to say the current economical situation and the economical warfare that we are being caught in crossfire of in the United States and your $1 trillion debt is a strange and unusual form of torture.
Are we undergoing?
Excuse me?
You said that in the United States we're undergoing economic torture. What does that look like? Who is going through it and who's waging this?
Me, I'm going through it. I was raised under a capitalism regime and I like to splurge, nigga. I don't know why there's an itch in my asshole telling me to go buy the new iPhone. I don't even need a new iPhone.
You probably are just making bad financial decisions. And again, the government has no control over it. And that just highlights how free you are, that you could splurge your whole check and nothing happens to you.
I wish this one was a middle finger. Wait.
I mean,
hold on. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do you like that. But all right. Yes. Okay. I said it was a reach. It was a reach. But I know a lot of people that have landed in homelessness and Lord knows when they're going to get out. Only the Lord knows. I can't imagine what a
And do you
fresh
think it's the
bum,
government's
a brand
job to
new
get
bum
people out of
in the United
homelessness?
States, just recently evicted this very week somewhere in Venice Beach, is I can't even begin to understand where their route back to a home looks like, my nigga. I'm talking about, I'm sure they're going to start off a criminal. They're going to start their way back to getting their shit together again. And this is a little bit the government's fault, because they don't have a cap limit on what realtors get to do. All the realtors go to a meeting one day.
Why should realtors have a cap? The value of properties has gone up every single
Because
year for all of human history because it is a scarce
homelessness
resource.
is torture, my nigga. That is a strange and unusual lack of freedom from torture. If the government puts you in a situation where you risk homelessness every fucking month because you don't know if you're going to cover your rent, yes, that's strange and unusual.
So now I have to ask you, is it the government's job to get people out of homelessness? And if so, why?
I would only hope that was a government problem, because little old me can't fix that.
The government's role is to make sure that there are no wars in your front and backyard.
You're
that they
hearing
collect
it.
taxes
You're
to provide you.
If I may,
Ori,
in the
please,
United
please.
States.
All right, yeah, go Nadir. I'm sorry, I had to mute you,
Ori, please.
and then I'll let you go back.
Yeah, please. Ori, the government's role is to protect you from harm from other countries, to provide you justice when injustice has occurred, and to collect taxes from you to provide you with infrastructure so that you may live your life, so that they might provide you with police officers, with firefighters, with roads and sidewalks for you to walk, and an infrastructure like public hospitals and an education that you may get. That doesn't mean it's going to be the best. That doesn't mean it's going to be the highest tier, but that is their duty. I don't think it's the government's job to take people out of homelessness. Now, granted, homelessness is a very tough issue. I will concede that. There is no one symptom. There is no one solution. But I will say that after being in California, being in Florida, homelessness, the only way out of it is through the person's mentality. There are many folks, not all. Let's be very clear here. There are many folks here that choose.
I've been homeless before, and you know that.
Okay, and how was that experience?
Shit. That experience was shit.
I can imagine.
And the first route out of homelessness is to become a criminal, in my experience. What I had.
I disagree. I think
for help
the first route is to seek help. How many homeless people do not want help?
A few.
So how can then the government take a person who doesn't want help, won't take help out of that situation? Well, they must want to be in it. And that's what's beautiful about this country, that homeless person who doesn't want help, who doesn't want any assistance, can stay homeless and nothing happened to them. And then it rewards you for getting out of your situation. This capitalistic system is the only system where humans have social mobility. Ori, me and my family came to America in 2001. My mother and father had $16.48. I have way more than that now. And that wasn't because the government told me or gave me anything. It was here, here, and here. And that's created all this.
I'm going to take a bump of cocaine to continue this conversation.
You know, Ori, I'm not going to lie. If we're going to keep with the kind of childish, smirkish comments, when I'm really trying to engage with you, then I think this conversation has already been over.
I had to cut you off.
I'm going to ask you just one time to let's refocus our goals and our objectives. My goal is to learn about you, and I've learned a great deal, but I still don't feel like I've convinced you of anything yet. And you sure as hell ain't convinced me of anything.
And that kind of has even left the building convincing you.
All right. So okay, let's take our thoughts and let's I guess keep them a little bit more organized, because I think part of the reason. Wait.
I'm gonna smoke a cigarette.
Okay, yeah, no, God bless, right? Smoke a cigarette. Anyway, I think part of the reason why this hasn't gone anywhere is, I guess this has been more of a normal conversation, and normally conversations tend to go right, left, up, down, everywhere. and I kind of want to keep this last bit a little bit more focused and a little bit
Serious?
more. So, all right, I'll kind of give you guys some basic questions based on what you guys have been talking about so far. Give you like 2 minutes to respond to each other, and if you guys, one of you, both of you, speaks for a little bit longer, I'll mute you and let the other person continue. So I guess we'll start with you, Oriana.
Okay.
You obviously, and from everything you've said, you've experienced homelessness. You don't like homelessness as a concept, and the fact that the government, not necessarily letting it happen, but in the system that has it happen, is a failure. I just kind of want to get your understanding of how you would solve the homeless crisis. Now, obviously, none of us are in a position of governmental power, but
Okay,
this is more
solve the
to see.
homeless crisis.
Yeah, how would you solve the homeless crisis?
You want a snarky response or a dead ass?
I mean, whatever. Well, I mean both, I guess, just to see where you're coming from.
For one, we could all say fuck it and become communist, and that'll be the first issue to be solved because off rip, communism gets you a house.
Yeah, but it's a house
Believe it
good
or not.
quality though, because in Cuba there aren't too many homeless people. But if you look at the
Uno,
quality
dos,
of each
tres.
individual house, A, the house is overcrowded,
Pepino y
and
pollo.
B, it's crumbling infrastructure. So it's not only about housing people in the general sense of the principle, it's also about keeping things in mind, like whether the house has mold, whether the house is repaired and maintained, because there's a lot of things that go into housing a person, not just, oh, here's a cylinder with a block. There's a lot of other considerations, and I wanted to get more your answer of how you would approach the issue, or how you would like to see the US approach it.
Okay, real quick, Nadir, so people know who I'm talking to as far as people on my live agreeing with you. Can you hop on there so I can pin you?
You want me to go on IG, and how do I?
Just open my live so I can see your tag, and I'm gonna tag you.
Oh, okay. I just joined it.
It hasn't shown me new. Okay. Nadir Esca.
Are you adding Nadir to your live so the audience can kind of see the both sides? All right, makes sense.
Okay, I think I got it there. Anyways, and wait, I don't know how to pin this. Okay. Oh man, they started attacking you. I'm sorry. Get out of there. Get out of there. Let's focus.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, man.
I don't even have
I don't have an issue with criticism. Like, that's perfectly fine. You know, like, I'm gonna be in public office one day, and
people are not gonna
that's fine by me. I got tough skin, dude.
Yeah,
good. So
I mean,
we're gonna solve homelessness real quick. The first start in the mission I'm currently on are these little houses, container homes, because that's what America has come to. Okay, as far as infrastructure and stuff, the homeless issue, and let's put a location.
Wait, real quick. Can we do like the split screen on IG so my followers can hop on this too?
Okay. Oh, you want them to attack me?
No, I don't want anything, dude. Like,
Okay,
yo, let's like not pass judgment here. Like,
all right.
I already told you what I
think
wanted.
I accepted
change
it.
your mind.
It's not doing its thing. Can someone join? Oh, there you are.
All right,
yeah, I'm gonna look.
We have to mute it though. I have to lower the volume.
I muted myself here.
Well, what you could do is you could just lower the volume, like you said, on your phone, so that way the audio from the live stream doesn't come into the mic here. But yeah, as you were saying,
solving homelessness in America looks like a lot like these container homes. I'm gonna give you a quick tour, and this is me being a clout chaser. This is gonna just be for the live because Wi-Fi is gonna drop.
All right.
So what's up, y'all? I'm doing the podcast now with Oriana, and we're just kind of going over all of the communist versus Democrat stuff. So we're just kind of going through it, and Alex is asking us like a round of questions, and then we can kind of, go through it, drop your opinions, your thoughts. Oh, ella terminó esto.
That's a $25,000 home. So
Oh,
where
wow.
we have started is, am I
Wait.
back on good
Oh.
Wi-Fi?
Yeah, well, you're back here. Is the
Yeah.
live still on?
No,
Yes.
Ori, could you request me again, please?
Oh man, okay. Hold on. I'm gonna go back inside.
Yeah, I got some of the homies on board too. So
Yeah, wait. Can we
I
get a
think
mobile home tour, please? I was actually very
I'm
excited.
not gonna lie. I think that's super cool what you do.
Yeah.
Like the whole mobile home thing is cool. And honestly, dude, there's a lot of local
Because who
governments
do
that
we
would buy your
pitch these
stuff like
mobile homes
in a
to?
heartbeat.
We don't go pitching these mobile homes to homeless people. We don't go asking a homeless
No.
man,
You have
"Got
to pitch them to
25,000
local governments who have money to pay you.
where you want to put one of these motherfuckers up?" No, what do? We go to state representatives, go Roy,
Mr. Kobus,
Yo, what's up?
point to,
it has been an interesting one.
It very much has been. I mean, I'm learning a lot right now, honestly. So
I ain't even gonna lie. This has been I definitely think this has been productive.
yeah, for
And
sure.
I know Giselita can't wait for me to wrap this thing up.
Yeah,
She gonna
wait.
wait a little bit.
Okay, we were promised. No, okay, we weren't promised, but we were offered a mobile home tour. I really want to check out the quality of your builds, please.
okay,
Yes.
we're doing this for Alex.
Gotta
Okay. Mobile home tour.
Wait,
Yes,
could you,
mobile home tour, please.
Yeah, wait, could you take the computer because I can't really. I'll just hop on the live, I guess.
But wait, Ori, I was expecting to get on the live, yo.
Okay, you have to. I think I have to end the live and start it again. We're
All
gonna
right, do
lose a
it.
little bit of
But
Wait, but you come back into the live. You said you left the
okay,
live.
I'll come back in the live. Boom, look. I left, I'm back in it.
All right. Okay, Alex, since you're in here. We built a pathway for
Wait. I can't see it. Can you take your computer with you so I could see the mobile home, please?
Okay.
Yeah.
Laptop is coming with me.
Yeah.
I requested to join the live.
Okay. View request. Go live with Nadir. Okay, boom.
Yeah, because I would love
built
my
a
audience
deck.
to.
We built a deck for this home. You see it? This alone was unnecessary, but this
Can you
ups
point the
value
camera
by
at
like
the deck? Can you point the camera at the deck a little bit? Like I know it's gonna be harder with the
No, I got
laptop,
you. I got
but
you. I'm gonna take my time with this tour. At the end of the day, this is my money.
yeah.
All right, this is what it looks like from the outside, and we're waiting on panels to cover up the gray. The gray is comes from the factory like that. Actually,
Okay.
it comes white, but we already painted it gray. Because all
Dude, that is super cool. And honestly, you should take your idea to local governments. And if you'd like, I
That's
could
what
just
we do.
introduce you to a couple
Mr.
folks.
Roy, he's running for state representative, and he's backing our project very strongly. And
Who's
he's
your buddy?
Donate these. Roy. I'm gonna
Roy,
plug
what's his last name?
I forgot his last name.
You should know his last name.
I know, but he's just Roy to me.
Okay.
We're going into the house now. We put sliding.
Okay, yeah.
This was an upgrade, because it doesn't come with sliding doors. These are hurricane proof, right?
The impact windows, very nice.
Yep.
Impact windows, because we're in the state of Florida. Look at the dog in there. All right, and these are two. So they started off, the asking price for them when we first got it was only $10,000. Because why? See this right here? There are two containers. I'm standing on 25,000 here, and I'm also standing on 25,000 here. These are not cheap.
Ori, that's very cool. And I think that in itself is its own thing. Yeah. But let's get back to the whole homeless solution, because I haven't answered it yet. And let's just have Alex do the rapid fire questioning. And I think that'll be it for today.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even get to run down the list of freedoms. But okay, homelessness. My solution is this, and this is what I work on because I feel passionately about people having to struggle with homelessness. So yeah, that's what I do. And yes, the solution here is to go the government route and have enough government politicians back this particular project called Como Deco. And that alone gives several thousand people homes, to starter homes. Obviously, this is no forever home for anybody, I don't think.
So you would invest more in kind of like common sense, affordable solutions that would directly house the homeless population.
Correct.
Okay. Is that your only remedy to the homeless issue?
Put all the motherfuckers in jail and have them start from jail.
Okay, why would you put somebody in jail who has not committed a crime?
Well,
Unless you're saying that being homeless is a crime.
being homeless is not a crime in itself, but surviving in homelessness leads to a lot of crimes. It doesn't take, you put one cop behind a homeless person, they're going to commit a crime within 24 hours, land their ass in jail. Anyways, why would I say that? Because jail, at the end of the day, there's food there and there's shelter there. And it's not a homeless shelter, but a lot of homeless people do use it, especially TGK. As far as my last visit, a lot of people go to TGK for that little sandwich, that little bologna ass eaten sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's a place to start. If you're homeless, go to jail and talk to, there's social workers in there that are going to set you up with at least food stamps.
Yeah.
Alex,
could you ask me the question?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you want a different question, or do you want to continue?
No,
on
the
to
same one. The same one.
All right.
And then we can compare our answers.
I mean, basically, how would you approach the homeless crisis in the United States if you think there's any deficiencies?
The first thing I would do is only work with people who want help. I think this is a very personalized, there is no one size fits all answer. So I would first of all identify who is homeless, who doesn't want to be homeless, because I only want to work with people who want to better themselves. Those people are the only people that I will use resources and government help. So what would that look like? I think the first one is mental health counseling. I think everybody who wants to get better needs to go to therapy, needs to be in some type of program that helps them deal with their mind and their emotion. That second component would be work resources. There are too many opportunities that the homeless population is unaware of that they could easily transition into a $300, $400, $500 a week job. Once we get them a little bit of financial literacy and some mental health counseling, they will make their decisions on their own. But I would only work with the people who want it. I wouldn't force people to live in my shelter. I wouldn't force people. Ori, let me. It's my prescription, not yours. I wouldn't force anybody to do anything that they didn't want to do. And I think that's why a lot of local governments like California have issues with their homeless population, because you're trying to force a solution onto somebody that doesn't want fixing, right? They like that shit. So why would I want to change their mind?
Okay, facts. And as far as, why would we ever get rid of every single beach bum? I love some of the Miami beach bums that have seen me growing up. Motherfuckers been there all their life, and I'm not trying to get rid of them personally. I don't care. But I'll say this much. You're right. You cannot force help onto anybody. And California has a lot of problems because they're simply way too liberal.
Okay, wait. I'll ask the next question now, but basically, I mean, and this will just be off this. If you're okay, on one hand, you're saying, all right, Cuba, better than the US in many aspects, if not all aspects, and you kind of gave your reasons for that. But now you're saying California is too liberal, when I would argue that California is kind of modeling themselves after Cuba. They're starting to show some similarities, in my opinion.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, and
communism has this.
But you're contradicting yourself in the regards that you're saying.
Throw that in there.
But it just doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up. Like, how can you say California's too liberal?
Okay, I'll
but
explain
yet
myself,
when I show a picture of a crumbling building in Cuba, I'm too harsh on Cuba.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. California is too liberal in the sense that they still have to follow federal law. So they can, do their best attempt to model themselves in a communist way and paint it blue. And people will agree with it. But at the end of the day, there's certain things, like, for example, and this is a very good example, let's talk about marijuana, because can you really talk about California without talking about marijuana?
Yeah, man. They tax it at 33+%, and their crime has gone down because you made possession not an offense. And I'm in support of that. Hell yeah, tax weed. Hell yeah, make it an industry. And everybody that's
Let's
sitting in
talk
jail
about it.
for a
Let's talk
nonviolent
about it. But
crime
I have a
shouldn't be
hot
in jail.
point, and you're not gonna like it. Like a lot of what I got.
All right, wait. What's the hot point that you have to make out of curiosity?
And I'm gonna go into it. We can pull up the rights, the particular bill that was placed when hemp was the solution to global warming. That's a throwback.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. That it's not that I don't like it. Is that was a curveball. And Alex, respectfully, ask this next question. Keep us on point.
Okay.
No,
We're going
no.
All
You're
right,
not
wait,
gonna
wait, wait,
bypass
wait.
my response.
Okay. We'll give you like a minute to respond, and then
Okay, put a timer and everything because I don't even want to deep dive. Listen, hemp was supposed to be the solution to all this plastic. We were like, yo, look at this proposal, my nigga. Look at it real good. If you make plastic bags out of hemp, it's gonna save us a lot of problems in the long run. This was a bill, and an opportunist politician that was in a good position at that time. I believe this was in 1938, if I'm not mistaken, around there.
FDR.
This is how much of a throwback this is. I don't know the date. We can Google that and fact check it later. However, that particular politician had a lot of coins and investments behind plastic. He was big homies with the nigga that was going to take care of him when he stepped out of office and was going to let him feed off of and make profit, to be better said, off of plastic, point blank period.
Do politicians help the people that pay them money to run their campaigns? Who would have thought?
All right, we can move on.
All right, well, I don't know. Let me, I guess, just ask. Let me ask just two more questions to each of you, and then we can sort of wrap this up and call it a day. But basically, I guess the first question will go to you, Nadir. I was curious more so, what kind of brought you to your beliefs about capitalism? Because I mean, from everything that I know, and this is just because we've known each other for a long time, that growing up, came to Cuba, as he alluded to. He didn't really have he didn't have too much money growing up, or at the very least when he came to America, he kind of worked his way up. Back in high school, he was working at Chipotle, bringing out the Nadir lore. And after he started a campaign with a guy who was running for Miami commissioner, he built up and he founded Ven-Vamos with one of his friends at the time, Jessica. And he kind of built this up into a good sized political business. And I have an idea of why Nadir believes what he believes, but I want to hear more from him why he ascribes to capitalism.
2 minutes. Why you firmly believe in capitalism? And we know it's financial gain.
I believe in capitalism because I am the example of capitalism. If I were to go to Cuba and say, hey, I'm going to start a business predicated on talking shit, hurting people's feelings, saying the contrary, I would be dead. I would not breathe right now. I believe in capitalism because when I went to visit my family and I saw the misery that my cousins are currently living, I didn't look at their skill. I didn't look at their lack of talent, their lack of resources. I looked at their condition in which this government puts them in. I was born in poverty, but I will die a rich man. And that is a result of these two things right here. And when this and this and these work together, the results are explosive, man. And I firmly believe in capitalism because that is what has allowed me social mobility. When I came to America in 2001, my parents, like I said, had $16.46. And now both of my parents, while they might be divorced, both have their own businesses. And I followed suit. I don't work for nobody. I work for myself. I set my time. I set my effort. And that is something that in countries like, that is something where in Venezuela or in Cuba, that doesn't matter. And my last point
Venezuela
is,
from his
I'm a
example,
firm believer. Let me just finish my point. I am a firm believer in property. Everybody, and like I said earlier on in the conversation, Everybody has a right to ownership. Communism and socialism, you can't own nothing. You can't own your thoughts. You can't own your company. You can't own your labor.
My
And I'm
mother owns
so
a house
fortunate.
in
And
my
Audie,
mother owns
just wait,
4
Audie, please,
properties in
Audie, please,
Venezuela
but don't
and
interrupt me, girl.
5
Like
businesses.
I'm giving you your time. Give me my time. What I'm trying to say is that I'm an owner of my time and my effort. And because of that, I get rewarded with property, with money, with resources, with access. In Cuba, you don't own your time. You sure as hell don't own your labor. And because of that, I am free. People in Cuba are not free because you will never be free until you own your mind, your heart, and your labor. And that's why I'm capitalist.
And I want to ask you a question, Oriana. And this, I guess, goes back to ideology. And from everything that I've seen, right, a lot of interesting beliefs, but something that I didn't know about you going into this that is very, very cool, that you help build mobile homes. And so given your propensity towards, I guess, manual labor and just sort of construction and your experience within that, how come you what makes you gravitate towards communism as an ideology when from what I've seen, you're a pretty hard worker?
What makes me gravitate towards communism is that, and to keep it simple and very direct, I'm an empath and I want to help even the asshole that doesn't want to any help. That's my personal problem. To keep it short.
So if you want to help people, why would you restrict their ability to free speech?
You're looking at someone, okay, you are looking at Oriana, right? I am not the most financially literate person, and you can tell that just by the amount of wigs that I own. And I aspire to be a philanthropist, meaning I care not about my profit at all. I care more about humanitarian rights. That naturally gravitates me towards a government that promises, whether they accomplish it or not, promises you a box of food, and I'm talking about Venezuela, a box of food a month. You gotta make it stretch, but it's a box of food a month, a house, baby, shh. And freedom, my nigga, freedom from a job, freedom as in time, my nigga. You don't
so
have
freedom of not working, so being a bum.
Reel it in, reel it in.
So
Cuba,
if you aren't a productive member of society, what is your contribution?
You call on a random Tuesday. There is one motherfucker at least that is dándose la rulay, bro. Rulay, smoking a blunt or drinking at 12 in the morning, and you're like, I just had to send this asshole $25 because they didn't have food last month.
But what if you could still provide, give opportunity, and not have the government sponsor it all? What if people could make their own decisions, figure it out for themselves, and not have to depend on somebody else? Would that not be a better reality?
And I see why you like capitalism, and it makes sense. It makes
100%. But why can't, even in your system, let's say the government controls
now
everything.
We're talking about utopia. Now you've stepped into my mind enough to now you're looking at solutions for the both of us.
But the reason why that won't exist is because humans are selfish and we're greedy people. And instead of hiding and lying about it, let's actually go into it and say, hey, we're all greedy, we're all ambitious, we all want more. So let's create a system that rewards the hard workers and punishes the naysayers and the ne'er-do-wells and the people who don't do. But in your system, we actually take the hard workers and we say, we're going to take your hard work and spread it across the people that don't do anything. And that demotivates, de-incentivizes, and makes it where nobody wants to work. Like, for real, why would I work harder if I'm just going to have the same? I wouldn't. I work hard because I don't have the same. I work harder and I grind more because I make more money than you, because I got more shit than you, because I can go take that trip. And that's what you should work to. You feel me? So where is the incentive? in this economic system to work hard.
All right. And
Pero mi amor, you left the Zoom to go onto your phone. Like I need you here. I need you here. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
sorry,
need you
I
here.
thought my
yeah,
dogs
all
were-
right. Well, okay. Yeah. We'll just wrap this up real quick. One more question. This one.
Yeah, Alex, last question. Make it a good
Yeah,
one.
this
Wait,
one.
real
Yeah.
quick. I
Wait,
just
wait.
wanted to.
Okay, fine. No, yeah, go.
All right. The incentive in communism is that you are against every odd to make more money than the next man. All odds are against you.
That doesn't sound very incentivizing, to be honest with you.
And
Honestly.
my mother has set up multiple businesses that actually she's a lot better financially than the average socialist Joe. And not to get into my mother's business, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
And, and she set those up here in the United States?
Nope, 100% Venezuela based.
She know them boys?
She don't know them boys. Them boys.
Alright.
with her.
All right.
Them boys probably know her though, right?
But they know her though.
What? They know her.
Yeah.
She used to work in Banesco. She's a mathematical genius. She used to work in Banesco, if you're familiar with international banks, and now we're in my mom's business. And then she works for a government bank. So she knows them boys know her. She can't do nothing no more for them boys because my brother has autism, and she had to quit her job. Anyways, all right, final question. This has been a lot of fun. Look at how careful.
All right, well, this will be the same question, one directed towards the other. I guess just is there one positive thing?
Nunca ha sido el caso.
Is there all right? So this one will go for you to you first,
Ponlo otra
Oriana. Is there any positive thing you would say about Nadir? And then I'll ask Nadir the same question.
Sí.
Positive things about Nadir. Wow, I know you. You stand for something. You're doing the work. You made more money than last time I saw you. You leveled your life up. I remember you putting all of our friends on with Ven-Vamos to be petitioners. So yeah, I have positive things to say about Nadir. Is he there with me? I don't know.
Nadir?
Oh wait, to wrap that up, because that wasn't a full 2 minutes. Nadir, do you get where I'm coming from? About like how you didn't make the best appearance of yourself speaking negatively on Cuba. Like it wasn't doing what you thought it was doing. It wasn't giving insight.
64-57.
I think Nadir would disagree, but basically, Nadir, this question is for you. Is there any positive thing you would say about Oriana?
Yeah, super positive. I think the first and foremost is that she doesn't duck away from the smoke. I think most people with your belief would simply call me a fascist, call me a bunch of mean things, and not even entertain this conversation. At least you called me some mean things and you're here, right? So that's really cool. And as a person, I will say I found it extremely surprising that you have this affordable housing vision and that you're working towards that, because I'll tell you that is very tough, and that is definitely a hero-less, thankless, scope of work. And I really, really wish you the best. And if I could ever be a resource in your business,
I'm gonna send you everything.
Yeah, if I could ever be a resource in your business, please consider it done. I would actually like to point you into the city of Miami. And if you'd like to come with me to a commission meeting, and I could put you on to some of my past clients, and you could tell them about your affordable housing shipping container, I guarantee you, they'll hear you out. You will hear you out. They'll hear you out. Because I think what you got going on is very cool. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, and
But the only thing that I would say, Alex, and this will be my concluding words, is that Ori, I think when you come from a place of hate, when you come from a place of America sucks, we're not perfect, but we sure as hell are the best, dog. And I will stand on that. And all the business, all the smoke, everybody in your comments can come at me right now. I'm not ducking nothing. And then my last point will be, I completely disagree with you. I represented Cuba for what it is, not what it should be, not what we wish it was, what it is. A communist piece of shit that hurts my family and my people. And the only way that Cuba will ever be free is if the NRA drops a bunch of fucking guns in Cuba and they all kill each other, because the only good
don't
communist
go
is
that
dead.
route. Don't go that route, because Cuba is the perfect name for Venezuela and one cannonball.
Well, unfortunately, in Cuba, you can't have a gun, just like in Venezuela. And that's the first step to an authoritarian
If
regime,
you think
is
they're
to
not
take away
there,
your
you're
guns.
lying.
That's why the
to
Second
yourself.
Amendment is so important. And like I said, and I will stand on this to the death, the only good communist is a dead communist. Straight up. Someone will seek out for what they did to my people and what they're doing to my people.
Okay,
And I hope
I have
Cuba
two
can be free.
questions and we're done. Who's the dead communist that you?
If you're a communist, you should save that air for somebody else. Obviously, this is metaphorical. Like, I don't want anybody to die. I just wish you would change your mind. And honestly, I think you will come around. I think you have hope. If there's anyone,
I'm gonna die on this side of the boat.
And I'll be frank with you, you're not even a communist. You're not even a communist.
You're
more Antifa. You're more contrary to the institution.
I'm a philanthropist.
Perdóname. Estoy en esto.
Okay, and my other question was, when you getting the rest of your family out of Cuba? When you bringing them?
I can't, bro. They won't let them slide. We've already tried. They won't let them go. We've tried.
Why? What's your last name mean over there?
Shit, it don't mean nothing. It just means that them boys ain't sliding, and we've tried everything. And my whole point is,
I could even help with that. I mean, we could go the coyote route. There's a lot of ways to get out of Cuba, and I'm gonna do my best for you to give you some resources to get the rest of your people out of Cuba.
Thank you. I think I have one of your peeps, Mr. Iniggy. He said, "Of course I love America and genocide." I definitely love America. I will tell you that America's given me all the opportunities. If I wasn't American, I wouldn't have my own business. I wouldn't be able to put people on. You even acknowledge that I put people on. How would I put you on if I didn't have these
Looking at
resources?
My Bermuda Triangle, nigga. Cuba, Venezuela, Haiti.
Sapase, Nabule.
Well, this is a very interesting conversation.
I think I misgendered the homie.
Yeah.
You said Mr.
No, she's telling you Mr.
Oh, I don't know. I just assumed it was a man.
No, that's Ingrid. She went to school with us. I think. No.
Shout out Ingrid. Sorry I misgendered you.
That's such an American problem, Ingrid.
See.
Well,
are we done here? Real quick, before we, and I'm not going to touch base, we ended up on freedom for torture. And for the people that don't know, the last 4 remaining human rights, and you get to be the judge of whether the United States violates these or not. Freedom from slavery. That's a lot to say about that. Right to liberty and security of person. We can all get a gun. I don't say we violate that at all. Right to be treated with humanity in detention. Is every
Well, for sure Cuba violates, because when you're a political prisoner, you're denied food and water. So at least here, when you're in jail, you get all that food. And even you said that people go to jail for food and security. So
I mean, I've been to jail 3 times in America, and I'm not going to go deep into that, but there's cruel and unusual punishment somewhere in that hole. And finally, freedom of movement. We do not violate that at all, because at the end of the day, if you live in America, you can always move out.
Well,
yeah, that's a miss for me, girl.
Well, that was a lot, but we could be here for hours back and forth in an infinite
loop. We can make this a weekly thing.
A weekly thing? I don't know about all that.
That's not gonna happen, to be honest with you.
But this is a very good.
Go to school every week.
This is a very good 2 hours. So I want to thank you guys for being here. Oriana, thank you for showing up and explaining your beliefs. Nadir, thank you for inviting Oriana to have the conversation and to also defend your beliefs. This is a very, very interesting conversation. Who knows? You two can work on the housing crisis. You know,
Bro, honestly, I'd be
Amen.
down to team up with Oriana. Like, she actually has the it's
She has the
proven,
receipts right there. We saw
very
it.
surprised on that. You impressed me with that for sure.
Yeah.
Man, thank you.
And
it's been a pleasure talking to y'all. I can't wait to see what you choose to highlight in the content because I know we made a lot of content.
Typically, what we'll do is we will release the full length podcast, and then we will chop up what we feel is the most buzzy, most controversial, most best
Give
clip.
me some
As you can
clickbait
imagine,
too, and
this
I'm
was
gonna
2
send my
hours,
people
but
your
we
way.
didn't have 2 hours of great conversation.
no, this is Nadir. Let me tell you right now. Within the 2 hours here, there's 20 minutes of puro oro, pure gold. So it's my
That's all
job to
Oriana's
find
fault.
it. And just one more thing, and this will be for me. I guess you said you would send us the information. Please do, because the land in Miami ain't cheap. But you go anywhere else in Florida, buy a little plot for 10K, put another 30K into the mobile home. You got yourself housing for 40K. So
this is bi-coastal. You don't even know the entirety of this project. This project is an international project. So if you want to put them in DR, you want to put them wherever you want.
that sounds lit. That sounds lit. So please send me and Nadir that information.
Okay, I got
yeah.
you guys in the group chat, and I'm gonna do that right now.
All right. Well, it was great talking to you guys.
For me.
All right, I will.
All right. Peace out, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.